everyone, and welcome to In Time, Not On Time. Thank you, Tony. That's very helpful. So, and welcome to the after show and our weekly discussion on stories from lockdown, where we tell our stories. I think it's we're seeing it. Everybody's ready for this to end. Everybody's absolutely ready for this to end, and we all. I was gonna say we all want to go home. We all want to get out of the house. So I do get that. Yeah, like most things, if this were easy, it would be done. It's difficult. It's a challenge. I think we're ending early. I think most people know that by now. So thank you for joining us. We're gonna have we've dropped the link to join. It's you can join. Actually, you can either call in or you can join by Google Hangouts. If you're on your phone, iPhone, you will need to download the Google. Actually, it's the Google Meet app. Download that, but just click the link. It'll download automatically for you on iPhone. I think on Android, it's a lot easier to just click the link and show up. But Courtney is here. She'll be joining us in a little bit, and we'll be chatting. And we have a few other guests that I'm hoping can make it. But until then, anybody who wants to come in. Next time, we hope to also just have the Discord piping straight in here. If you're on Discord and you just want to do that, we actually had we had it, but it was only one way. So if you're in Discord, everyone can hear you, but you couldn't hear the rest of the stream. So uh, we'll get that sorted. But in the meantime, certainly thank you all very much for joining us. And just a little news as usual. So now the White House is saying that everybody at the White House is going to have to wear masks, which, gee whiz, good idea. But ostensibly, this is because Mike Pence is showing up, and he's almost certainly, been infected, and so has probably a huge number of the White House. A press secretary. This may come as a shock to you, but a press secretary comes into contact with a lot of people, so it's yeah, yeah. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to quickly check the health of the stream. We had some issues getting started. Yeah, my volume is very low. That was actually one of the problems. I was trying to boost my volume right before starting the show. I'm just going to try to speak louder. I think we'll have this fixed, probably not by tomorrow, but by next time. I have a volume mixer, and as soon as we activated that, we lost all the volume from the Hangouts, and nothing could go through. You'll be able to hear everybody else well. Um, so there isn't very much I can do about it. I can try to bring the microphone a little closer to but OBS doesn't allow you to boost the volume. You have to boost it any number of other ways. This volume is maxed out without using like a volume meter or any of the other tools available. But when I kicked in the mixer, it's messed up all my drivers. So what can you do? Um, Let me just try one thing, I suppose, that might be able to boost it. But I do apologize. We are working on it. We're aware that I've been having volume issues for some time. It's so this is a very nice headset. I got a new headset because my other one wasn't working. My other one was fine, but it was I liked it very much. I could actually go 300 yards with it, which is kind of important for me. And but the sound quality was always tape quality. It was 16 kilohertz and needed to be at I wanted to go at least to 42 kilohertz. It was only 16. And then I got this headset. This is Corsair, so I figured, hey, can't go wrong with Corsair. Had it for a couple of days. It worked beautifully, and then a firmware update killed the microphone. And there's a lot of complaints online about this firmware update. I haven't been able to do anything about that, and so we got this sound issue. When I'm doing pre-recorded, I get a chance to, yeah. When I'm doing pre-recorded, I get a chance to boost the volume on the back end. I just run it through, and there's any number of ways to boost it after it's been recorded. But for now, it is what it is. I apologize. Hopefully, we're going to get lots of other people in this room. I my whole family, frankly, would pay for this to be like a permanent situation in the household where it's just like it's like nobody can hear me. But it is what it is. You're all stuck with me. I can boost the volume. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm speaking loud. And you'd think OBS would let you boost over 100%, but you really can't. And so, oh, we've got our first. So, Brandon, and here is Brandon. Brandon, how are you? And I can't hear you. Yeah, most people, I think people come in here muted, so you may be muted. And
Um,
oh, there you are. How are you?
okay, well, that wasn't muted. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well, except for the fact that nobody can hear me. Uh, which again is a plus for most people. Like the quality of in time just shot up. Um, put a sock in him, and then we're good to go. But
Yeah.
yeah, and now my whole family can hear me too because my family's over there. It's like they know I'm streaming, and it's we're all in the house, of course. So I haven't streamed without the kids around for a while. And the streams can get, I mean, we don't get really raunchy, but I can get, especially when I'm talking about Trump, I start to lose it. Now the girl's like, why is Daddy so angry? Um, aside from the fact that I've been locked in the same house with you. Okay. Yep. 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 How you doing?
Must be going nuts.
Yeah.
It's, I'm okay. I don't have a large family, so I'm not doing too bad.
We covered that. So yesterday we did a show updating a lot of uh, what's been going on and updating the openings. One of the things I said, you've been stuck in the same house with your loved ones. For me now, actually, it's about 6 weeks, I think. And you love them, but at some point you're sitting there going like, I need space.
Uh, yeah, it can well on you at times, but it's a price we pay. It's better to do that than risk getting sick.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not even gonna. No, it's apples and oranges. And the other thing that I pointed out yesterday, I think this is worth noting. It's actually also an opportunity, and it's taken a little while for me to sort of see it that way. And the reality is, since this is a news program, it may come as a surprise to you, but there's been a lot of news, so I've been busy and we've been having a lot of changes. So it's just been a lot of work. And I was like, you know what? There aren't going to be many times where I get to spend this much time with my daughters, and they're growing up, and they're growing up quickly. So I'm trying to remember that this is actually an opportunity. Nobody has to go into work. Most people couldn't if they wanted to. I'm here, my wife's here, my kids are here. Let's try to, play more video games together. Let's try to. We've been playing Dragon Age. But the thing is, Dragon Age, especially 2 and 3, it gets a little racy. So it's just sort of like in The Witcher also. So it's sort of like it's like, oh, I don't know why she's naked and straddling the unicorn on her back and going like, oh, what's that? Is that a chipmunk over there? What's a go girl? Let's look at that. Spacebar, spacebar. Just get through the cutscene. Um, but yeah, so it's interesting, and the other thing is we play Mass Effect a lot, and I love Mass Effect. They love Mass Effect 2, and every time, there's in Mass Effect 2, there's a character named Jack. Um, Mild spoiler. Most people either know this, or if you don't by now, you're not going to be playing the game anyway. But there's a character named Jack. Jack is really powerful. Jack just wastes everybody, and we got to, break Jack out of prison. And you show up, and when Jack comes out, you realize Jack's a woman. And they always pretend to be shocked. It's like the first time they were shocked, like, wait a minute, Jack's a what? And now they're always like, Daddy, Jack's a woman. It's like, yeah, you say that every time. We've rescued Jack about 35 times now. They're all like, Daddy, oh my God. uh, and then we're sitting there in the car driving, and my daughters will go into the back and like, oh, there's a car getting up on us. Grab the shotgun. Okay, no, you get the assault rifle. They're too far away. Get the sniper rifle. And they're going through all the weapons from the Mass Effect universe. And my wife is like, what are you doing with these kids? I was like, it's an education. Um, Now Icarus had said Minecraft. I've tried to get into Minecraft, and I like playing Minecraft. It is so buggy. It's really buggy, and one of the things is, if you have the PC client, it's buggy now. I've got the Pocket Edition server so that we can actually build our own worlds here. We can change all and they love like Bed Wars and stuff like that. Bed Wars is actually a lot of fun to watch. We have a mod. I'll be honest with you. He's he's a little bit of a he's a dark one, and we're all a little nervous about having him around. But come to find out that here he is, this basically Kaiser Soze figure, and he loves Minecraft. And so I'm just like, okay, this can't be right. So I send him some of my girls' favorite Minecraft videos, and he's like, oh my god, this is great. And he's like, do you realize they're streaming live? I was like, yeah, a bunch of kids are streaming Minecraft live. Why are you telling me this? He's like, you gotta watch. I was like, whoa, okay, well, yeah, he went down a little bit in the intimidation ranks after that. Um, but that was actually that's a good Minecraft. So what are you doing to pass the time?
Oh well, I don't I play a lot of video games. I don't necessarily have the next gen console. I have a PS3, but I play a lot of video games.
Oh,
Um, I'm I'm playing Fallout New Vegas right now. Well,
uh,
I'm not playing it as we speak, but
yeah. Well, I never finished that. I got about halfway through. I liked it. I gotta tell you, I still am a fan of the first two. And then once they basically all they did was they took the Skyrim engine and said, hey, let's make it in the Fallout universe. And I like the universe. It's a very rich world. But I really do miss the isometrics, the top-down isometric games. I don't know what you think. Were you a fan of the original Fallout
uh,
games?
top down. I didn't really play the original Fallout games. I maybe I don't know. I don't think I could get used to the that. I don't know why. PC thing is weird for me anyway. The dexterity in my hands.
Whoa!
I just couldn't do it.
Somebody just ninja'd in here. I don't. How did? Wait.
Yes,
Aren't we supposed to like have permissions for people to just? Oh, what is
she
this?
just
I know she just showed
did
up.
some kind of
I got a Ninja
yeah.
Turtle on me.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Well,
that's why.
whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get by. Um,
uh, uh,
uh, so um, so you were saying that. Oh, hold on. You were saying that you okay, you've been playing Fall. So how is well before we continue, let's also just say anybody who wants to come in, you can call. There's a phone number. It's at the top of the description. If you happen to you know remember how to actually dial numbers. If you don't and feel more comfortable with a link, we've also got a link to the Hangout, and then come on in. Brandon is here with us, and we have a few other people. And just I want to finish with what he was saying. But Courtney, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm busy. I've got a lot of work left to do tonight before the end of the day, so I'm actually realizing I'm like, oh no, I don't have any time at all.
Well, although actually you're lucky. I mean, so many people are out of work. I mean, the unemployment rate is record high
Absolutely.
for this country, and Mnuchin just came out and said it's going to get higher. It's probably going to get a lot higher. I mean, it's at 14%.
Mm.
And that number is actually low for a number of reasons. But Brendan, what were you going to say?
well, I was gonna finish with I just downloaded the a DLC for it called Lonesome Road, and I've been playing that.
The
It's
the
been really fun so far.
the
It's
what?
all code to me.
You downloaded? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
A Lonesome Road.
Oh,
It's a
Lonesome Road. Yep,
DLC for it. It's like an add-on for it. Yeah.
yep. Yeah. I like it. I like the sense of humor in it, but I don't know. When I started playing Fallout 3, uh, it really did feel like they just took the Skyrim and just reskinned it, and there wasn't a lot of. I mean, there was some nice modding you could do. There was a lot of things, and I really do like to mod the games I played. To tell you the truth, I'm usually turn-based strategy or tactical. I'm a huge fan of. Oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten the name of it. I'm that tired. Uh, what is it?
Tactical something.
The alien. Oh, yeah, it's
Final
tactical
Fantasy.
aliens. Tactical aliens attack. No, the
Oh, Alien.
yeah, it's aliens. XCOM 2. Well, I still have I made my own mod for XCOM 2. That was I
Oh,
really liked it. It was a good mod, I thought, but it allowed you to combine previously
that's cool.
incompatible mods. I enjoyed it. So Courtney, you're still working. I don't know whether to say
Yes.
congratulations or my condolences. How's your work coming? I have to believe because you work with children, and I don't know. I mean, I think to some extent children are unaware of what's going on because it's just like an extended vacation. Yeah. So okay. So
Kind of.
what are you seeing in
Um,
kids?
I mean, I think a lot of them at the very beginning, a lot of them had a lot of fear about like, oh, don't get the corona, and it was just this whole thing, or they would just be like, really nervous and really freaking out about hand sanitizer and toilet paper and stuff. And then I think recently it's calmed down a lot, where everybody's just kind of bored and cooped up, and they're not so much worried about that anymore, which is good. It's good that the children aren't worrying about things that they really shouldn't have to worry about. So that's good. But it's just been really interesting to see the creativity that people have in like household games and stuff that, I've been able to help parents kind of figure out what to do, like building forts and playing charades and doing things that don't cost any money, but are ways for the family to bond all together. And that's really good in this time that, like you said earlier, it gives the families time together that they wouldn't normally have, to just enjoy each other. And that's good.
Well, and that they're never going to have again, to be fair. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, oh dear Lord, hopefully, we're never going to go through anything like this again in our lifetime. So you're always going
Yeah.
to have work. You're always going to have other things. And now, I think it is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity to, I mean, there are other things you could do. Like, I mean, aside from games, which I think is great and hanging out with the family, you could like go to your favorite YouTube channel and log in and join if they're having a hangout, for example. And it just so happens I know one. And
Yes.
yeah, we have the link in the description, the phone number. Give us a call. I'd like to get.
Yeah.
I have an old friend who's just landed. He was out at sea for a while, and he came back and he wasn't getting the news very much. And I compared it to like 28 Days Later, that movie where a guy wakes up in the hospital and he goes out and it's like everybody's gone. He's like, what's going on? And so he's like, yeah, he got back, and I mean, he knew something was happening, but he didn't. It didn't hit him until he gets on land and he realizes you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, everything's shut down. I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, come on in, talk about it, scare the living daylights out of our audience.
Yeah.
So, I think I cut you off, Brendan. I think you were going
That's
to
how
say something. Yeah.
I got in. I used the link. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I used the link. That's how I got in.
Yeah, we got a link. It's right
Yeah.
there. It's
So
highlighted.
you
Why
can
is
do
nobody
that.
click? Okay, I understand. I understand. Nobody wants to. I was hoping. Listen. I realized when I'm the only one here. Okay, I get it. But then Courtney shows up. It's like nobody wants to talk to Courtney. I mean, I'll keep my mouth kind of shut. My microphone is muted anyway. If Courtney starts talking over me, I'm gone. Nobody's gonna hear
He
a
can
word.
he can try.
Yeah, so you see, this is basically turned into the Courtney hour if she wants it to be. So you got
Yeah.
Oh
nothing to come on
man.
in, join us.
So, Nick, did you do anything special for Mother's Day? Am I gonna get you in trouble? I don't know.
I'm not here. Nobody saw that. No,
You
Oh
got it.
yeah,
no.
well,
That's what I thought he'd do.
well, there's what's it? Oh yeah, Blur's Day, I think is what I heard earlier. Blur's Day, where all the
Blur's Day?
well, because the days are kind of all blurring into each other, and I don't know what day it
Absolutely.
is and it's just like you can't tell the difference between a weekday and a weekend. And I've missed so
That's
many
true.
things on my calendar because I don't check it. It's just like, oh my God. So this is one where it's I figured it out right before. I figured it out like a couple days before, but it wasn't enough time to do much of anything. You can't go to the store to get a card. I managed to get it like sent here, but I was just like, okay, arriving Monday? No, 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 arrive Sunday. Sunday, Amazon. I was like, Amazon, I'll pay extra. How much? How much Amazon? Sunday delivery?
What do you
No.
need?
Yeah, exactly. So, but we got the cards. We got the girls got to pick out their own cards. We just and again a good example of something we can all sit down and we're just like I want that card, Daddy. I want that card, Daddy. I was like, no, that one says Happy
Oh,
Graduation. Yeah, but Mama will love it. I was like, no, 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 no. You need to get a mother's. But that says Happy Graduation. It's like, but I like it. There's a basketball and there's a flaming unicorn, and I was just like, yeah, okay,
that's
no.
adorable. It's a
Um,
flaming unicorn.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wow.
I I actually did a lot for Mother's Day. It felt like a normal like weekend because I went over to my mom's house, brought her dinner and flowers and cake, and we just kind of had dinner. And then on actual Sunday, I went out to my boyfriend's parents' house for his mom's day, and we just made food and we went swimming, and it was just a normal weekend. It was great. I got to swim in a swimming pool, which is really always good for me. I'm such a mermaid. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. It felt like a sense of normalcy, which was nice. I was able to like take a bike out on a trail, and there's actually this really cool thing that they're doing. I probably shouldn't say which park, but there is a park in Texas where they have this project where they will take rocks and paint and decorate the rocks with paint, and then put them on this specific trail that's part of this like walk park, and you can just go along, and there's just hundreds of these rocks along the paths that are painted, and they've got, Snoopy saying something funny, or there's things that are really encouraging. There's a lot of them that say like "you matter," and lots of different references of shows. They have like The Simpsons. They've got they had a Pac-Man series thing, which was really cute, but it was just a bunch of painted rocks, and it's something that's so simple that people can do at home, and anybody can just bring their own ones from home and just put them along the path and add to it. And it's such a wonderful idea. I don't know, there's something so magical about that. Yesterday it was great.
Yeah, that is nice. And they're reopening. And I'm ambivalent about this, but a lot of states are reopening parks, and they're reopening like golf courses and stuff like this. So at least you can go for walks and go out and get some exercise, which you do need to do, and you should be going around the block. You should be wearing the masks when you do it. It seems really stupid doing that because you're in the outdoors, and yeah, no, this stuff. I mean, if it lands on something, if it gets on it lasts for 4 days. You need to be careful, but you need to get exercise too, and you need to go out and live life and remember kind of what it is we're fighting for, which we are fighting for something. I mean, that's the whole point of doing this. So,
That's very well said, Nick.
thank you. Yeah, notice. No, did you catch the surprise in her voice? She's like, "Wow, Nick, you said something well. Holy smoke!"
I did not.
Yes, it was. Okay.
No.
I hate polls. What in the live chat? If that was sort of like, "Oh, that was well said, Nick." Or two, if you're gonna let her off the hook.
Oh. You can't win. This is why they all insult you, Nick.
No, that's one of the many reasons.
Even when
There's
it's a compliment, you wonder about our tone.
There's a lot of reasons why I get a lot of insults. Well, yeah, it's I did that to my daughter too. I was like, okay, you want to flip a coin? We'll decide who gets the last cookie, Daddy or her. She's like, oh yeah, let's do that. I said, okay, fine. Let's flip a coin. Heads I win, tails you lose. She goes, great. It's like flip the coin, tails. She's like, I got it. I said, no, tails you lose. She's like, oh, okay. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think my father.
If you say it fast enough, you can get away with that.
Yeah, well, or if you say it to a 9-year-old, which is about my speed of I mean, that's how devious I am. I can outwit a 9-year-old, but I have to work at it.
That's some skill. I can't do that.
Yeah,
yeah, my kids go all the way down to 7-year-olds, and I can't outwit those things. I can't do it. No.
Oh, they're kids don't get enough credit for just genuine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very clever.
Oh, well, and I used to teach high school. I've taught middle school a few times, but I taught high school for a while too. And it's funny because and they can smell fear. And that's one of the things. If you're a teacher, if you're no good, they can spot you. They can spot a fake just like that. I mean, that was yeah. You got to know what you're doing.
They'll whip your part too.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Yeah. They definitely they can smell like inauthenticity. So if you are a genuine person and you talk to them as if what they say matters, then they really respond to that, because I don't think they get enough of that.
I think that's true. I've gotten in a lot of trouble, and I understand why, because I think this expression is sort of overused that, kids are just basically little adults. And they're not, but they are human beings, and they're human beings first and their age second. And the fact is they have all the
Mm.
identical needs. They have all the same needs. They have the same needs to be taken seriously. They have the same need for dignity and respect. And it can feel hard to give them that dignity and respect because, yeah, they need that over things that would consider very silly, like flaming unicorns. But that's part of what being engaged is, and that's part of treating them honestly. But one of the things I've noticed is the difference between adults and kids is so razor thin. I was teaching at a summer camp, and there was a whole bunch of the older counselors, the older female counselors, and they were sitting there going like, "Oh my God, did you hear that? This camper is bisexual and this and that," and the others found out and they started making fun of her, like, "Oh my God," and especially this one, "Oh, she gossips like there's no tomorrow. I know she's such a gossip. Can you?" And then she started
Oh
talking about this,
no.
and I'm just sitting there going like, I was like, it's just the topics change, but it's the same thing, and we all do the same. And I use the same argument actually with religion because I was watching my kids play like some magic game and they're just inventing the rules and somehow the rules make sense to everybody even though they're inventing them. They're like, I have a magic shield that can repel all these things. Okay, well mine can get around it this way. And like, oh, and then they all play along. Every now and then somebody contests this rule and they break off, but sort of like, I was just like, okay, Christianity. I was just like, okay, that's Catholicism, that's Protestant. Oh, we just had the Reformation, and
Oh no.
Lutheranism is coming. It seems the same to me. I can't tell the
Luce is,
difference.
Luther's about to protest.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's funny. That was very well said, Nick.
Yes.
Okay, now she's okay. No, nah, this is trolling.
I'm doing
I
it.
called troll. I totally called troll.
You started it.
Oh, now it's my fault. It's blame the victim, Courtney. Blame the victim. I get it.
Oh man.
Brendan, you see
do you
what I
like
have
my
to put
shirt?
up with? You see what I have to put up with, Brendan? Nobody asked
You
about
are
your shirt. Oh,
special.
there you
You are special, Nick.
go. Yeah, thanks. Somehow I still don't take that as a compliment, but okay.
They do it because they love you. I know that.
Well, thank you. Let me see. Yeah, we got. Oh boy, we got all sorts of. So I'm sending out the link. Also, it's going to be in our Discord server. The link to the Discord is in our in the description there. But if you want to join the Hangout, please click on the link. You can come in and join us. If you want to join by phone call, there's a number there and a PIN number. Just call up, type in that PIN, and you are into this Hangout right now. Brendan is the only one brave enough to step forward into the. We're intimidating. I know. We're Courtney and I together. It's just we're very scary, and I understand that. But Brendan has the courage to step forward.
Yes, it looks like there's like another thing in here, but whatever it is muted.
Yeah, that's actually.
I'm very curious to see.
No, that's so. The only way this works is you have to like log in twice and put it through OBS and then stand on one foot and do a pirouette while you're. It's really tough to work.
Pat your stomach and rub your head at the same time.
She's got it. Yes, basically.
So that's you twice.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's actually I'm in there twice, and I'm actually not broadcasting on any of them, but one of them is how you're getting the sound. So one's muted, the other one's edited. Oh dear Lord. This is a little Mickey Mouse. But it's working. I'm not gonna. And I tried to boost my volume right before. I was like, you know what? I know a way to boost my volume. Boost the volume, and then all of a sudden, sound goes down across the entire system. I was like, Courtney, what's going on? Courtney, can you hear me? And
I was like,
yeah, well, no, she was exactly like that. And the first thing I thought was, oh, she's fucking with me.
nope.
So it's just like, because I'll do that. I'll do that to Courtney every now and then. Where it's like.
I was like, I'm busy making dinner. I don't have time to mess with you.
Can't do it. So Brendan, I
Nice.
don't know. So your state, what's it doing for reopening? How do you feel about what it's doing for reopening? What's going on with you?
I actually don't know the details because I don't like have cable news and I haven't been really watching TV because I'm afraid if I see some if I don't know if I do I'm afraid I will freak out. But I should know the details because I have from what I am seeing, I think this thing is slowing down, but it's probably not, and I should know how things are going, but I don't like a big idiot. So
Mm,
Well, there
I
is
don't
like a.
yeah,
either.
Oh dear Lord. Okay, I was about to say, there's a program that can educate you and do all this stuff, but as soon as my own co-host, she's like, it's like I can't lead into that. I was like, okay.
No. I was gonna say that in time is the only way I know a lot of these things because, our staff and Nick does all this research and then they learn these things and I don't know anything that's going on usually.
So here's
So,
a, and just FYI, people, don't tell Courtney about any of that. She actually can't see the screen, so she has no idea what I was doing there. So just nobody tell her. That was
Okay.
complete dignity and respect. Um, I'm sure I appreciate. Yeah, we covered yesterday. We covered every single state and what they're doing to open, and I did it in like 15 minutes, which was not easy. If you've heard my Trump rant,
Mm.
it's closer on the side of that, where it's like how many words per second can I get in? But it was.
I like the diatribe.
I'm sorry, what?
It's like a diatribe
Yeah, well, and
from scathing atheists.
so
Like Trump, what is going on?
yeah, I mean, the numbers
Mm.
are going down, Brendan. So you're right about that. The problem is they won't stay going down, and in every state that's opened early, they've started going back up again. It's going to take 2 weeks before it goes up significantly, but I did cover, Hokkaido, I think was the name of the Japanese island that ended up. They did a spectacular job. They locked down when it was only 2 deaths a day. They locked down. They got that taken care of. 3 weeks later, they said, "Oh, we're done. It's okay." They opened up, and 26 days later, they were at 66 deaths a day. 66. They went from 2 to 66, and one of the reasons is because you've actually given it time. It's spreading out right now. And during the lockdown, yeah, it's not going any further, but it's incubating, and you can't. What's happening now is if you open, instead of a few people bringing it in through New York, through LaGuardia, Logan, and LAX, and then it having to spread out from there, instead of that, what's happening is it's starting from everywhere. It's in every state. So when you open
It's
up,
everywhere.
it hits all of them simultaneously. So um, yeah, that's okay. When I lean in, I get an echo. No, it's not the leaning in. I think Brendan maybe is turning on, or you can hear it from him every now and then. I think I'm going to blame him for the echo. If you have any technical complaints, what I'd like you to do is email
uh,
Brendan Worrell at
yep, blame
gmail.com
me.
and just let him have it. Just let him have it. We're all tired
Yep,
of
just
all the stuff he's been doing.
it's all my fault. God damn it! I know.
You see? You just
Everybody blames me.
Oh man. Oh no.
You're hired.
That's funny.
No, we're gonna hire you just to take the blame. I can't.
Just a scapegoat. Yeah.
Just as exactly. He is our and
So,
scapegoat is um.
You're our Jesus.
I like that.
Oh, Jesus! Wow. Okay, yeah, that works. Oh,
Scapegoat.
yeah.
Oh Jesus! Oh,
And
I
literally,
mean
you
me.
got it. Thank you. Yep. Oh, you okay? Hail, hail,
Yes.
Brendan, full of blame. Thou art our scapegoat. All mistakes be thine. Um,
Oh my God!
all right.
I
Well,
mean me.
if anybody else in the live chat would like to join this, I promise you, I'm not gonna. We're gonna just keep blaming Brendan now. We're not gonna make fun of anyone else. It's just him. So come on in. This is a safe space for
Yes.
all but Brendan.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
the link is in the description. Call in.
it's
I just got Saka. Saka is a good guy.
yep.
I've known him for a while, and he's been in the military, and he just got back, and I wanted to see if we could get him on the stream, but he's just like, no, I'm going to spend time with my wife. I'm like, oh please, you've been at sea for 6 months. She's probably grateful. You get back. She's like, "Why are you here?" It was a nice 6 months. I know, suck. I know what it's like. All right, Coessa, 5,001. Don't go clubbing or bar hopping when things open up. Seems to be the #1 candidate for. Well, most of the clubs are going to be closed. There are some states that have opened up everything, and there's some states that have opened up movie theaters. And what they're saying at the movie theaters is you have to stay 2 seats apart from each other, and it's at 25% capacity. Here's the problem: it lives for 4 days on any surface. So unless they are disinfecting everything, which those states I noticed don't have disinfecting orders. There are states that do. Those states don't. The difference between having everybody just take every other 2 seats and filling the thing isn't that big, believe it or not. It's just not that big a difference. Over time, it's not that big a difference. Oh God. Okay. And then with
That's
Pence,
crazy.
yeah. Yep. So thank you,
And
Quessa,
it's
for that.
doesn't it?
And people like eat.
Yep.
People eat in there
Yeah.
too. Like you're gonna be touching your mouth and.
Well, and what people don't realize is, and this is what gets me, because I was in the grocery store. Oh, Susan Turpin, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey!
Yep, she's here. You got to work on getting her in. I'm intimidating now because I've been on Brendan all day. But welcome, Susan. Thank you for joining us. People say that people think the masks are to protect yourself. They do offer some protection only because if you get it on your hands, they slow down how quickly before you infect yourself. If you touch your eyes, you've got it, but you can't touch your mouth and get it so much. So it's a help that way, but for the most part, it's to help other people. If you cough or sneeze, that can go 6 feet. 6 feet, you can infect other people. With the mask on, it goes nowhere. It won't hit the surfaces. It won't do anything. So it's there to protect other people. But I've seen people at the grocery store who are sitting there going like, "Oh well, I'm not worried about it." So you don't understand, and people are asymptomatic. And the press secretary, Pence's press secretary, is asymptomatic, has no symptoms. Right now, she's perfectly fine. She's got it, and she's been going into the White House with it, and now they're saying maybe we should be wearing masks. And again, just public service announcement: do not freebase Lysol. Can't believe I have to say that. I'm not kidding. I have to say that now. If I don't
I know.
say that,
I know. I know. Shit. Yeah.
Yep.
Inject bleach. No, don't.
Well, so again, anybody who wants to come in, the link to the hangout is in the description, or you can call. We haven't talked about idiot administrations suggesting that you drink Clorox, but I don't even. That's not even. Oh dear Lord. I love a lot of the.
Somebody had come in.
What? Oh yeah, somebody did. Sorry. Yeah, who did? Who joined us? It was Jeffrey. Who was it?
Yo.
Yeah.
Hey. Sorry.
Hi Nick.
Hey.
Hi Brandon. Courtney.
How's it going?
Hey.
Yes, not too bad. I probably won't be in too long because it's like come up to 3:30 in the morning here right now. So.
Oh, well, awfully nice of you. Very handsome of you to come in anyway and say hi. So thank you. How are you doing? What's going on with you?
Well, personally, I'm about 6 weeks into this lockdown where I literally have not left the house. I'm going to be. It's going to be at least the middle of June before I'm able to leave. I suspect longer. I'm something that our National Health Service identified like 1.5 million people that are at severe risk if we do catch the virus, and I'm on that list. So I'm having to isolate more than most because I'm on immunosuppressant medication. So so my immune system probably isn't as strong as some people's. But it's been a bit weird here because everything we're getting from the government, there's just been so much confusion over what we can't do over the last couple of days. It's like go out but don't go out kind of. It's like Schrodinger's government at the moment. It's what we've got in the UK right now.
That was one of the. I spoke about that last night as well, which is a couple of the states have said, okay, we have orders to um, open the state, and restaurants will be open at 25% capacity. We'll have gymnasiums open, salons open. You can get a massage so long as it's non-touch. I don't know what that means, but anyways, I don't think I want to know. But
How on earth does that work?
I honestly don't. But then the same state said, and meanwhile we're extending the stay-at-home lockout order for another 2 weeks.
Wow.
How can you open the restaurants and tell everyone to stay at home? I don't.
Yeah,
I like
well,
the Schrodinger's government. I like that. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, our lockdown almost started the same way. That it's like they left all the pubs and the restaurants and that open for about a week, but we're telling people not to go. And I'm actually do have a friend who's a publican who's like, for goodness sake, you might tell us, it says either shut us down or tell us to stay open, but you tell us to shut down, we it's better for us. It's like, yeah, it's so then we went to this lockdown, and it seems like the plans to come out of it are equally as confusing at the moment. And I mean, I don't think it's to get to Britain's death toll is particularly high. Actually, it's one of the worst. So.
And they're pushing to come out. They're also pushing to come out earlier. And what's his name? Boris Johnson has basically started. He said he's going to push hard to come out. He hasn't done it yet. But as someone who by some reports almost died from this, because it's hard to tell whether it was that he almost died or they were just being careful in case he did. But he was in trouble.
He was in intensive care, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the ICU, and in New York,
yeah,
80% of the people who go into ICU don't come out again. At least at the height of this, because it was that bad. So, and he's at the highest risk group. I think the reason that there's so much of this is because we are doing it too early, and nobody knows how to do it because it can't actually be done safely. So they're being told we have to come out because we have to save the economy, but it must be done safely. Those are you cannot reconcile those two. It can't be done.
No.
So I think that's why you get this. But Kwesa for another 5,000 won. Thank you so much, Kwesa. And thank you for your continued support of the show. We really appreciate it. California inmates tried to infect themselves with the virus in a futile bid to win freedom, a senior police officer said Monday. Well, a lot of prisons have been releasing people for just this reason, because it spreads very quickly through the prison system, and there's very little they can do about it. They don't have enough hospital beds in prison that are secure to. It's a serious problem in prison, and we had actually covered prisons with Godless Mom. I think, Courtney, you had brought up, how is this? And then, we started looking into it. I'll be honest, I hadn't even thought to look into it until you brought it up, and sure enough, it's been a nightmare of a problem. And then the other one,
and visitations aren't allowed either, because of wanting to keep the prisons as sparsely populated as possible. So people visiting the prisons, not only Godless Mom mentioned that not only does that really negatively affect the families and the individuals who want to see their families, but also it spikes abuse in the prisons, because family visiting kind of keeps the prison in check, and you can go and you can go and see that your family member is safe and not being hurt badly by somebody in the prison or by the prison itself or whatever. And so it puts a lot of harm on the checks and balances, basically, of the family being able to check in on their family and know that they're generally safe, at least that day. So that was alarming. That's some things you don't think about unless you have somebody who's in the prison system and you have to deal with these things.
That's a really good point.
So are you telling me that they might actually be regretting locking up so many people in the United States just for smoking pot now?
No. Excuse me. This is the United States, sir. We excel at everything. We have 4% of the world's population and 20% of its prisoners. You tell me one other country that can do that.
Exactly.
You Brits, you snobbish, little.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, America. You're just jealous.
To be honest, to be honest, Nick, To be honest, Nick, ever since we've had Boris in charge, we can no longer look down on Americans with
know.
any sense of superiority.
That was totally you guys. I was like, when you guys did that, I was like, thank God we're not the only ones now. There's Trump and Boris and two peas in a
Oh
pod.
no.
I was like, you guys had it until that. That and Brexit, excuse me, but I'm sorry. You really. In fact, you guys started this. It was Brexit, then Trump, then Johnson. That was all. You guys started the roll on this. End of civilization, the UK.
It's just worrying now what America's going to do in response to that. 'Cause it's kind of almost like America voted Trump, and we're like, hold my beer.
Well, I figured out what we're gonna do. We're gonna start snorting Lysol. So Angry
my
Roach for
gosh.
$2. I inhaled Lysol. Now I only smell citrus. A, that's very funny. B, go to a hospital now, please. Just go. Yeah, no, oh dear Lord. And he's outright saying, there's a great clip of Fauci. He's like, Trump is talking about this stuff, and he starts to laugh, and he knows he's on camera, so it's just like he's trying to hide it, but he can't hide it anymore, and he is just gut laughing at what Trump is saying, and he's just sitting there during the press briefing, and it's just sort of like, okay. World's hardest job right now.
To not laugh at the government.
I meant Fauci, but yeah, I suppose. I think you're right.
Oh,
I think
dear.
that's yeah.
Laugh and cry.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
It's the entire presidential cabinet, pretty much.
The what? The entire budget?
It's the entire presidential cabinet. We're trying not to laugh at, but
painful.
So I'm sorry, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, and I see you around all the time. But this is the problem. It's like there are people I talk to all the time, and then I gotta like say their name a lot. Is it Geoff? Jeff?
It's Jeff.
Oh, it's just Jeff. Okay, well that's what you get when a dyslexic guy tries to. So Jeff,
you're not the only.
You're American.
Yeah. So Jeff, I feel a sudden number of an uncomfortable number of people suddenly mocking me. It feels a lot like I'm hanging out with my family. Yeah, thanks, Courtney. Okay, so
Suddenly, I don't know about that.
Okay. This is nice. Hold on. Oh, I forgot. So today, as a special treat, I'm producing, and it turns out I control people's mics. I didn't even realize. I'm just saying. Okay, hold on. Let's just see here. Oh, can I? Oh, shoot! I don't know how that happened. I'm still new to this producing thing. So it might be that I accidentally muted Courtney Stewart. I don't know. It was. I'm so naive with this stuff.
Just tripped on that button.
Yeah. I did. But I don't think I can unmute her. She has to unmute herself. But can I? I can't unmute her. She has to unmute herself. Okay.
Hey.
I promise. Listen, I'm sorry. I promise it won't happen. It won't happen more than 2 or 3 more times again.
Oh my gosh.
So Jeff, how do you feel about Boris Johnson is starting to do a push to reopen, and as somebody who should know better, given what's happened to him, what are your thoughts on where that's headed? And, do you have any plans? I mean, you're immunocompromised, so it looks like you're stuck no matter what happens.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a waiting game to find out if I'm going to have to isolate further. My suspicion is probably yes, I will. As I cannot see. I mean, I think they were being very over optimistic in the whole to begin with, saying that it was going to be, would be open for business in 3 months or whatever. And it seems like they're actually trying to do that, but it's a bit weird because there was talk of like reopening schools by the start of June. Now, obviously, I think I don't quite know what the latest status on that is, but. So obviously, because we've got this sort of like devolution sort of governments, obviously and Scotland. Wales and Scotland have said no way, we opening the schools by then. I don't know if that's going to be the case, if they're going to be reopened in England or not. But which is obviously a bit more in, there's nothing disparity to Wales and Scotland, but the majority of the population of the UK is in England. So it would be, I think it would be a cost move to try and reopen the schools by then. But I've got to be honest, I'm not quite sure what the latest on that is. So I need to check that.
I yeah, I think here's the problem, and we've gone over the historical precedent for what's going on because there is historical precedent in modern history. It's Hokkaido, Japan. In less modern history, like 100 years back, it's the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, and in both cases they opened early. The scientists at the time knew we locked down 100 years ago. We locked down this country because we knew then how to deal with this. This is nothing new, and we opened early, and we got hit much harder on the second round, and then they end up having to lock down again, and it's only worse. And so everyone's talking about what's going to be lockdown 2.0. I'm sorry, it's about as certain as gravity. I mean, you drop something, it's going to hit the ground. It's just however long it takes to fall, and you can calculate it. And we've done the math on this. It's not that hard. I don't.
But you're telling me gravity's real. You'll be telling me the Earth's round next, Nick.
Yeah, well, listen, I've had that complaint from more than one person.
It's such a mad world we live
I
in.
know.
Oh my gosh.
Who?
Round world.
Who?
We have
Yeah, go.
we have actually had like telecom. I mean, you said about some of the lunacy that's out there. There was BT, which is the biggest sort of telecoms firm in the UK, actually reported about a month ago that they've had some close to 40 workers who've been attacked working on masts that people thought were 5G.
Yeah.
Because of the lunacy around 5G that's going around at the moment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unfortunately, one thing that seems to be spreading maybe even faster than the virus is the amount of stupidity at the moment.
Misinformation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and a lot of, I mean, in America we have, especially in the southern states, but also in a few of the northern ones, people have been, grabbing an AK-47 and going down to their, whatever government building they've got and protesting this and saying, you can't lock me up. It's, I've got rights, which is funny because most of them haven't read the Constitution. I mean, they really haven't. It's a little sad, but at any rate, yeah, I think that's one reason. That's one reason why. And again, I get ambivalent. Been burning the candle at both ends. Been broadcasting as much as we can to keep up. I, of course, was very sick for quite some time. That gave us a brief hiatus, but I feel obligated to try to collate this stuff, and I'm very proud of what we're doing here on In Time, and because I think it's important. And on our last one too, we had a number of people who really said they appreciated it, and that gives me some juice. I really do like hearing that. But on the flip side too, it's like I do want to spend time with family. It's a tightrope to walk, and I'm not the only one walking it. It gets, but it's yeah. I think I've always been for big pro education, and I think you're right, and I think the more you can educate, the safer it is for everybody. But it's a big world, and this is a small channel.
Yeah. Well, but you're hopeful.
And we help some people. That's all you can only do
Yeah.
what you can do. There have been some people who've said, "Wow, this has been really helpful," and people have said, "We're going to tell our friends," and other people are just like, "Look, it's good to know." So what you do, what you can do. That's it. I'm the one who said, "Hey, let's do a news show."
You can only educate people that want to be educated.
I think that's true too. And Courtney had said she wanted to do. Yeah, Courtney had said she wanted to do
So
a
well
show.
said.
Yeah. Courtney said she wanted to do a show on the backfire effect, and I think I actually was speaking with a scientist earlier today who is a science educator. I'd like to also have a show on specifically how to transmit what's happening in science, because people get it wrong and science gets blamed when people don't understand what they're saying. But one of the things he had been talking about is this common perception in science that people want to know the truth, and people that a miscommunication is indeed just a lack of understanding. When sometimes
Yeah.
you can't bridge
Yeah.
that because it's a lack of will to understand, and that happens much more often, even with people who aren't hostile to your position. They just couldn't be bothered.
I don't know. I think it depends,
Yeah,
but I do think that we do have a major issue with scientific information being translated through the media and really being misrepresented. And I think it just comes from a basic lack of scientific literacy because, when you're a journalist, that's not exactly something you focus on when you're trying to get information across. And maybe it should be more of a focus about how to um, accurately represent a scientific article that comes out. Scientists now find blah, 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 and it is never what
yeah,
it actually is.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so we did. So my degree is in psychology, and we did a lot of research or a lot of spent a lot of time on understanding scientific articles and how to write those and how to conduct research. And one of the projects that we had was to pick any study that had been covered in the media in some way, and the paper was to write the difference between what the study says and what was covered in the media. And because that difference is always so large that you had enough to write a paper every time, no matter what
Oh,
it was.
oh.
It's like, oh, well, they said it was, this proves this. Well, that's not true because it's, it suggests that based on the evidence. And so it's very different terminology, but it translates really badly to the media. And so I don't think that it's people's fault. I do believe that most people would like accurate information, and I think that they would accept it if it was there, but I think it's just so hard to know the difference nowadays. So hard to know the difference between a targeted article, an opinion piece, an advertisement, and actual information and news. So that's really difficult for people of all ages to see the difference with.
Well, I think you see that with corollary studies too, where somebody will come out with a corollary study, and you can imagine any number of ways that the causal relationship could be any number of things. But then the media always spins it in what's sort of the most obvious or the most you think, where they say, "Oh, they've proven that chocolate causes X, Y, Z,"
Right.
or it's just like, no,
Absolutely.
no, they said they were correlated, and there are
Yeah, it's
ways.
correlated.
Yeah, big difference, big difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, very different. And we don't know if they're actually related at all or if it's just, by circumstance, and it's, their actual relation is from a third variable, and it's crazy.
Well, that's
Double-blind studies, people. Double-blind studies and replication. That's where you get truth.
the one I always give is ice cream. On days that more ice cream is sold, more people die. Okay, we are getting a echo here. I think it's Brendan. So I don't know.
It's is it always an echo? Or I
Let me
haven't
mute
been messing with
this.
it.
What? Okay. Well, I'm still getting it. I could just start to mute people and see who. Oh, it's better. It's a little less now. Brendan, I'm going to just mute you for 1 second because I think it's you. I could blame Courtney too, but oh, there. Jeffrey muted and Brendan is, and mute that. And okay, the echo's gone, so I'll do this and then you guys can unmute. But the one that I always like is ice cream. And we actually had on the codex, you had a little script where you could type in how much ice cream was sold on a given day, and you could find out roughly how many people died in that day in the U.S. On days that more ice cream were sold, more people die. Period. End of discussion. Can't do anything about it. It's a fact. And so people always sit there and say, well, how's ice cream killing people? No, we don't know that. All we know is that the more ice cream that's sold, the more people die. That's all we know. It's a correlation. We don't know how and why. The answer to the how and why is actually very simple. In general, the hotter the day, the more people die. On hot days, people tend to die. The elderly, especially if they don't have air conditioning, can die of heat stroke. People go outside, they get into car accidents, they go to the beach, they drown, and you end up with more deaths and more ice cream is sold.
Yeah, the study that we look at for that example in school is ice cream causes drowning. So the more people the third variable is the warmer weather. So warmer weather will cause more people to eat ice cream, and also cause more people to go swimming, which will cause more drownings. And yeah, same thing.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, that one's actually probably better because it's just a cleaner example. I like that one.
So
I'll have to start using
it
that.
sort of reminds me a bit of that old South Park episode where they came to the conclusion that Kentucky Fried Chicken, cured cancer because they got rid of Kentucky Fried Chicken in South Park and opened up a marijuana dispensary. And I think Randy and a few of the others were managed deliberately gave themselves cancer just to be able to get pot. So
I think I
Oh my
remember that
gosh.
one. I remember that
yeah,
one. He's got the doctor's note, and he's just like, oh, I have a
yeah.
doctor's note. They're like, geez. That show is actually genius. I think
So
for a couple
yeah,
of seasons
Yeah,
they started to head south,
but
but
the takeaway from it was that Kentucky Fried Chicken sales keep cancer down. You know, that's the
That's
conclusion
funny.
they drew.
well, I'm probably going to start wrapping this up in about 10 minutes. So if anyone wants to, I don't think we're in a rush to get out of here, but it is getting late. Courtney's got a lot of work to do. I'm going to go hang with the
Oh,
family a little bit.
I'm already doing it.
Oh, because she's fully present and engaged in the show.
I'm
You can see where her
cheating.
priorities are. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
listening though. I'm listening.
Yeah, I figure about 10 more minutes. If anybody wants to get in on the last 10 minutes, we do have the link is in the description. Click on that.
Did we ever get Susan on?
She did not. I think she may have bailed by the time I got a chance to mention that, we were hoping she could come in, but I think she was busy anyway. But, hopefully she'll come
Well,
in. We do this every
love to
week.
Susan.
Every
If you're listening.
every Monday we do this, and we're going to keep doing this. Unfortunately, I think these are quieting down a bit now, and I think next week is going to be quiet. The week after that's going to be quiet. The week after that, I'm guessing these are going to start to pick up. I think more people are going to show up. Just a guess. Where was I? Anyways, so we'll start wrapping it down. But we also have a phone number, and you can just call in if you just want to call in on your phone. We've had every now and then we'll get somebody who's like a trucker or something calling, and we've had a couple of. I don't know. We seem to be popular with truckers, which I think they get a lot of time on their hands. They're like, hey, why don't I listen to In Time? Because I got nothing better. So, it sounds like Jeff, you're no matter what. I mean, I think one of the things that we've been talking about is we're going to be facing, I think, a lockdown 2.0. We're going to have a second lockdown. We may choose not to do it, but I saw someone do the math yesterday. If only 20%, let's assume that it's a 3% mortality rate, which is sort of the average figure. I think it may be a little higher than that. There's some people who say it's lower than that. That's certainly before they realize that strokes and a few other significant issues where people were dying that was COVID related. So let's say 3%. If 20% of the U.S. population catches it, that is 2 million Americans dead. 2 million Americans dead. And
what did you just wait? The mortality or catching it would be 2 million people.
If 20% catch it and the mortality rate is 3%,
that's okay, got it.
2 million.
I was
Americans
like,
yeah. And if we stay
All
open, if we hadn't closed, that's what they said would happen in under a 2-month period. 2 million Americans dying in 2 months. That's staggering. You thought New York had problems. They can't even. They're still 6 months behind on death certificates in New York. That's how quickly people have been dying. They can't fill out death certificates. If you need your insurance, if you had life insurance on a spouse and you need that money to stay in your house, you can't get it because they won't pay it without a death certificate. And you can't get a death certificate because too many people have been dying too quickly. They're literally taking freezer trucks, the huge trucks that haul frozen food, and they're putting bodies in them and taking I mean, that's how. And it's much better.
And on ice rinks too, they're filling hockey rinks with bodies.
Thank you, Courtney. I didn't know that one, and I'm never going skating again. I used to like skating. Now I can't do. Thanks. Hockey.
And I'm pretty damn sure there's not enough room to bury all these people. Where are they going to find the room to bury all these people? Or are they just going to clean them? What are they going to do with them?
That's what they've been doing in Italy. In Italy, the graveyard for all these bodies was so big you could see it from space. And now they're just basically it's all paupers. Yeah. That was over a month ago. They're just like, okay, in space we can see the graveyard for all the deaths in Italy.
This is a fucking plague.
Yes, it is. It's. I mean,
So
that's literally.
nuts.
It's. I mean, this is. I don't think this is the big one, but it could be, because people have been warning about a big one for a while. This actually has a lower mortality rate than what we were considering would be the big one. But who knows? It's still out there. So this is.
You're talking about a prophecy big one? What are you talking
No,
about?
that's a good question. No, epidemiologists have said that basically about every 100 years you get a massive plague of some kind. And what the
I
reason this
see.
happens is because it's just the population grows fast enough, people get dense fast enough that something can catch and spread and go through it. And so it's sort of like they've been predicting a big one earthquake in California for a while. They know it's going to happen because of the stress on the plates. They just don't know when, but it has to happen.
Mm,
And then there's an
mm-hmm.
earthquake in California, and people say, "Oh my God, was that the big one?" And it's a 7 or even an 8, and people are like, "That must have been the big one." No, it wasn't. Sorry, this is not yet
No,
considered to be the big one, but it may turn out to be. Who knows?
they were expecting like a 10 or something. It's like a 10.5 or something. I can't remember.
If
Well,
that
it seems
happens,
like
Yeah.
the next lockdown that will be the big one, right? Jeez.
I'm going
Well,
to say if that earthquake
Well,
happens, it's got to happen this year, really, because
I
you
know.
know what I mean. I thought it was going to peak early with like the bushfires in Australia.
Yeah.
Now we get this, and now we have murder hornets as well. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in 2020. You know.
Well, and
And we thought, I remember us talking about 2018 as like the worst year.
yeah.
Nostalgic about that now.
You right? How quaint.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh dear Lord. No, yeah. Well, and of course, actually, and
yes.
there was, and I think it was some in Africa somewhere. I think there was a huge bunch of locusts too. And I remember seeing that on and I got the news, and I was like, this has to be a joke. The earthquakes, locusts, war in the Middle East. This was right during the Iran thing, and I was just like, okay, that's it. I'm going to bed. You guys can educate yourselves on the news. I'm not. I'm done. When it's literally biblical prophecy level, I check it out, folks. Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think for me, what we're going to be looking at is going to be a second lockdown, and the reason is, from what they've shown, is you hit the point where the economy is going to get tanked anyway, because with so many people dying and with nobody wanting to go out, then the only question is, why don't you just force everybody in? It's not going to do that much more damage to the economy, but you're going to save some lives. So that's what happened in the Hokkaido. That's what happened during the Spanish flu over 100 years ago. I think all the evidence is that's what's going to happen now, and so we're looking at a lockdown 2.0. It's just like, guys, this is why we put things in books. The invention of writing was really cool because it meant we could save information, and even when the person who had the
learn from
information died, I
history.
know, right? Oh wow, the person could die, but the information lived on. And we have not been doing well with that, but that's okay because Trump doesn't believe that books exist either.
What?
Uh,
Oh no, he's well no he's read all the good
I,
he's read all the best books. He knows all the best books. He's got the biggest books.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he may have coloured in a couple of books, but that's about it.
Well, he's fond of
Covered by
reading.
Oh,
number.
Yeah.
that was
Um,
good. That
Oh
was
man.
good. Oh
yeah,
man.
I will not read them anywhere. I will not read the books
Here nor
there. Yeah,
there.
here nor there. Yeah. Um,
Oh no.
yeah.
It's good.
Oh, all right. Well, I think I'm gonna start wrapping this up. Was there anybody now? You guys, I don't know if anybody had anything that they wanted to plug or talk about before we go. But thank you all for joining us. It was great to have you. I
Well, I'll just say I do have a small YouTube channel, so
please,
yeah,
please.
it goes to the name of Godless Scummer, is what I call myself. So it's only a small little channel, and I've been doing something a little bit fun for the last few weeks. Sort of another creator where we've been going through all the older Asterix comics and having a bit of fun with that.
So
So
basically,
just trying to do
if
something a bit more light-hearted at the moment.
if you want to get depressed and consider slitting your wrists, please subscribe to In Time and enjoy our content. If you would like to have something more fun, we now have an alternative for you, and we hope you will go join and sub to his channel. And I will say, although all jokes aside, like, subscribe, please. That really does help. Hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button really does help. So thank you. But all right, so you've got that, and you do some jokes. And could you give us the name of that one more time?
On my channel, Godless Scummer, it's called. So
can you spell it?
I wasn't going to ask, but yeah, I'm
Godless is obvious, but it's SCUMMER.
Yeah, we thought so. We just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Well, I'm dyslexic as all, so I the last one actually to admit that I don't know. I was just like, yeah, I know how to spell table. Okay. So, all right, and
it's spelled like tabbouleh.
Tabbouleh. Okay, did Brendan already bail? I think tabbouleh. Thanks. You're very helpful. It's it's almost hard to believe that you help shepherd kids through difficult periods in their life. It's
Oh man.
So
it's a gift.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure you heal many kids who just want to get away from you. But so let's see. Have we? So we've lost. I think we lost Brendan. Courtney, did you have anything that you wanted to just anything that you'd like to direct people towards, or just let people know what's going on?
Most of the things I've already said. Keeping track of what's going on the CDC and with us, and just trying to be cautious of things you hear on Facebook, online, and on TV news.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do a whole segment. We covered a lot of them last night. We covered a lot of the Fox News, like it's a hoax. Coronavirus is a hoax. We never said it was a hoax, but here's a clip of us saying it's a hoax.
Well, yeah, and there's. I was at a restaurant the other day. I had my mask on. I was picking up food, and for Mother's Day, and there were a lot of elderly people in the restaurant eating with large groups. No one wearing masks when they walked in or when they sat down or anything like that. It was just really disturbing. But local Texas news, I'm sure, is not treating this with the right severity. I'm not watching it, so I can't say for sure, but I have to assume that the reason that elderly people would go out and just meet in large numbers without any masks on has to be because of the information they think that they're working with, and so it's just scary.
Oh, and I mean, this has been genuinely decimating nursing homes. And nursing homes, the mortality rates are skyrocketing, as you can imagine. If it gets into most nursing homes are on lockdown, the likes of which you've never seen, and if it gets in, that's obviously it's been decimating nursing homes in every country. The U.S. is being hit hard, but I think the U.K. nursing homes are being hit even harder, and it's sort of I don't know. Part of me wants to sit there and again just either accuse these people of negligent homicide, or it's like, have you no shame? Reporting this honestly, you have to. There's no more politics. And I'll say this one other one I really would like to wrap up and get going. But the UN tried to pass a resolution calling for a ceasefire to every war on the planet. Ceasefire worldwide. Ceasefire.
Wow.
Boom. Done. Now, it's not binding. Nobody has to, but this is what they were calling for. Worldwide ceasefire until this is over. You know why who vetoed it, right? United States.
I can guess, yeah.
Oh my God.
And we vetoed it because the World Health Organization was listed in that, and Trump is right now trying to blame them for the acceleration of this because they didn't warn him that China was lying, which they said, hey, look, China is just reporting these figures. We're not saying they're true. Trump goes out and says, well, China's telling us the truth about this stuff. No, he doesn't want to. Yeah. That's negligent homicide.
Okay. What he wants is for no one to be pointing at him saying your administration was the one who didn't handle this well. and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to scapegoat. Um, when they're like the most, accurate information that they know at the time, and they're the safest people to look to know how to get through this. Like, what?
And the least politically motivated. And yes, there is politics there
Yes,
too. There is I'm not going to say they're not politically. Everybody's politically
right.
motivated, but they are the least there is.
Yeah.
It's it's a good old fashioned tactic of leadership of when in doubt, blame the foreigners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, a guy from the UK
Yeah.
would say that. Oh.
Well, and like, well, that's something you definitely see in the UK too, of a distrust of people outside of the UK, and so you have that's a joke that
Yeah.
plays everywhere of like, oh no, the foreigners are taking our jobs and doing all these things, and it's like,
Yeah. Well, there's the old joke in the UK is being British is all about driving Japanese cars and watching Chinese made TVs, we watch American shows and eating Indian food, but above anything else, being suspicious of all things foreign.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's accurate.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. We will be back next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're going to continue this so long as I think there's a benefit for people to come in and just sort of vent and try to have a good time while also trying to talk about these things that I think is uh, very strange for all of us, because this is something nobody's been through. But I had said this before, and I stand by this. Uh, One of the nice things is, because of the way media works, we got someone from the UK, someone from the United States, someone from whatever Texas is, and oh, come on, that was funny. She was okay, but
I'm used to it by now.
yeah,
I don't claim this state. No.
yeah, okay, so
Oh,
you're
no.
Nick, it's supposed to be a news show. I just Texas hasn't been an independent republic for some time now.
yeah. Oh, not to. Oh, they've tried though, but I got a personal beef with that, because you do the math, they'd be dead if they tried, but they don't mind talking about it. At any rate,
I think there was, I told you about those painted rocks. I think there was one that said "Open Texas," and I was like, "Is that about COVID?" Like, I don't know, because I'm not online very much, so I don't know some of the slogans that are passed around Twitter and stuff. But I hope that's not about, release the lockdown and, let Texas free. I hope that's not what it's about, because that would have been really depressing.
yeah, that's
Ooh,
totally not what it's about.
I hope so.
Um, yeah. So,
Is it
um,
about something worse? I don't know.
no,
Did I open
it's
a
about
can of
COVID.
worms?
No, it's about COVID. It's about opening Texas. Um,
Okay, cool.
uh, okay, she did not
You
just
know,
say that.
I don't know.
No,
I
okay.
don't know.
But what I've noticed is this: because of the interwebs, we can communicate with everybody, and all of a sudden, Italy is our neighbor, because we can see what's happening, and because we can see the bodies from space, and because we know what they're going through, and we can see the nurse that's collapsed on her computer from exhaustion, and we can see what's happening to everyone around the world. And so all of a sudden, we really are brothers and sisters in a way that we've never been before. And I think um, I'm I hope that that's something that we get to keep, and I hope that that's something that we can remember. And that is one reason why I like to do this, is because I want to bring in people from Australia, from the UK, from Italy, um, and not Canada, but anywhere else, and 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 tell us those stories, because they're the same stories.
Yeah,
And
there's limits.
there is. Look, we've got it. We do have a bar. We do have a gig, but And I think, and I am genuinely privileged to live in an age where I can do this. And, I just sit there
Mm.
and I start this thing up and we go out and we talk about it. So I appreciate all of you for joining. Thank you all very much for your super chats. Thank you for your support, the Patreons, everybody who has been so helpful to the show. And we hope to continue to do our best to live up to those expectations. Uh, Thank you all for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow when I think Courtney and I will be discussing the
Deconversion.
deconversion. We'll be discussing sort of our views on why anti-theism is a necessity and our own sort of experience with deconversion. And I forget the title of it, but we'll be doing that tomorrow. And then next week,
We don't have a title yet.
we don't have a title yet because,
Nope.
COVID. So, but and then we'll be doing this again next week. Thank you all for joining us, and until we see you again, my name is Nicholas Lamar Soutter, and this has been In Time. Thank you.